Have you ever wondered why the color of the underwater part of a ship differs from what we see above the surface? This unusual color scheme is not just a nod to fashion, but a necessary measure dictated by the harsh conditions of the marine environment. In this video, you will learn why it is important to cover a ship's hull with special paint and what red color has to do with it. For a long time, ships were built of wood, as we know, with prolonged contact with seawater. This material deteriorates and rots. However, this is not the only negative effect ships face. Seawater is rich in bacteria, single-celled organisms, algae, invertebrates, and minerals. All of these tend to settle on various submerged surfaces. The intensity of this settling, or fouling, to be precise, often depends on water temperature. For example, in tropical regions, a ship can become covered with a layer of algae and mollusks up to 7 centimeters thick and weighing up to 100 tons in just 6 months. Naturally, such weight severely affects a ship's performance and lifespan. Seafarers have been trying to combat fouling since ancient times. Ships were treated with wax, tar, oil, and arsenic. In Europe, a mixture of sulfur and resin was popular, giving the underwater part a gray-yellow or mustard shade. If sulfur was not added, the resin colored the ship dark brown or even black. By the way, resin also helped fight wood-boring insects, moths whose larvae feed on wood. In the 10th century, to protect against fouling, ships began to be sheathed with copper sheets. Copper has toxic properties, causing many invertebrates and mollusks to perish on it. Moreover, copper sheathing protected the ship's wood from rot and wood-boring insects. The main drawback of this protection was the high cost of copper, so this method was used mainly on first-rate ships or by special order. In the 20th century, ships began to be made of steel, adding rust to the fouling problem. Thus, special paint became the true savior of a ship's underwater parts. It consisted of several chemical components that protected the metal from aggressive seawater and repelled marine organisms. The most affordable and reliable material was red lead paint, based on lead orthoplumbate and iron oxide. This combination bonded excellently with steel and was toxic to marine life. Naturally, red lead's color is red or shades of red, depending on the proportions of lead and iron. Anti-fouling paints were also made from zinc or copper oxides, which had a greenish tint. The Italian Navy used a patented green paint that was considered most suitable for the Mediterranean Sea. Interestingly, such paints were used in other countries too. For example, a Soviet Navy ship in the Black Sea could have a green hull, but once it moved to the Pacific Ocean, it would be repainted red, the most effective color for those waters. Ships that spend most of their service in freshwater or low-salinity water are painted with varnish-based paints. Their main advantage is quick drying and creating a perfectly smooth surface, which is especially important for high-speed vessels. Bituminous varnish, also known in the Soviet Union as Kuzbaslak, was particularly popular, a black paint made by dissolving coal tar or petroleum bitumen in carbon solvents. Special coatings are used for icebreakers. Externally, this may be a layer of red or green paint, but it is a special epoxy coating that protects the hull from friction and impacts with ice. Another important aspect of marine paint is environmental safety. On the one hand, the paint must prevent fouling, but on the other, it should not harm beneficial marine life. For example, in the UK, anti-fouling paints have been banned on coastal vessels since 1986 because they caused mass deaths of oysters. In 2001, the International Maritime Organization banned paints containing tributyltin, a toxic compound that severely pollutes the ocean by accumulating in seabed sediments. For modern ships, the choice of paint for the underwater part depends on many factors: climate, duration of operation, time spent in port, intensity of fouling in different parts of the world, and, of course, environmental safety. Today, with the advancement of technology, protective paints are made from eco-friendly compounds of zinc, vanadium, and copper. Some countries are even considering creating nanocoatings that mimic, for example, shark skin. However, regardless of the composition, Most ships below the waterline are traditionally painted red.